Welcome to Easy Eats. My name is Chef Yves Dechaine, and today we're in the Greener Villages Learning Kitchen with Executive Director Alex Boyd. Hey Alex, how are you?
I'm pretty well. It's great to be here.
So today I'm going to show everyone how to make my grandmother's stuffing. It's really simple, it's really easy, and I mean it's apropos. We are getting into the Christmas season, and then later on we'll talk to you, Alex, about what the Greener Villages does. We are super busy this time of year, and I think that today we should bring focus and lights to what we do.
Yeah, that's great. I'm looking forward to learning more about stuffing. It's one of my favorite parts of the holiday meal, and also to talk about Greener Village and the work we do.
All right, well, let's get going. So, grandma stuffing is really, really easy. It's just a few ingredients, and I've kind of added to it along the way because, I mean, like everything else, a recipe kind of evolves with the person making it. So it starts off with tradition, and then you just pass your tradition on with places you're at and things like that. So I've kind of changed grandma's recipe to kind of meet my new maritime heritage.
Oh, awesome.
So all you do is you get a skillet at a medium-high heat, and then you just toss in a knob of butter. And a knob of butter really is just 2 tablespoons. And then you get that melted down while you dice up 2 medium onions.
You make that look so effortless.
I mean, it's years of practice, Alex. I mean, I had a chef that used to say, first you get good, and then you can get fast. So there we go. And then you can pretty much use any kind of, thanks, Alex. You can use almost any kind of onion that you have in the pantry, and that's what it was. Is my grandmother used to use red onion because red onion she found was fancy. And there we go. And yeah, we did. The butter is a little bit brown, but that's okay because that's just going to add nuttiness to the dish as well. You don't want to burn it though, so so there's a fine line. It's like caramel. As soon as it gets to a certain point, you've gone too far.
And is that based on the heat of the pan?
It's just kind of the color of the butter, like caramel. You're caramelizing the sugars in the dish. There we go.
Oh, it smells good already.
It does, doesn't it? So after we do that, we're going to add a couple of ribs of celery. And again, we're just going to small dice it. So we're just going to dice that celery in, just like this. And add that. I'm going to turn the heat up on that a little bit more now. Perfect. Now, my grandmother always added red pepper. I don't know why she added red pepper. I really like the taste.
Oh, it's interesting because I wouldn't have thought of pepper as a thing that goes in stuffing.
Well, me either, and I think it's because she has always had red peppers or peppers in the house. And it just became something that, I mean, I always lean to. I don't know if she used to do it on purpose or if it was just something she had in the fridge, but it's now traditional in my house to have red pepper. Not green pepper, but red pepper. Because my crew doesn't like green pepper.
And is there a difference in flavor between the red and green in this application?
Well, in general, there is a flavor. My kids don't like the bitterness of the green pepper, so the red pepper is a little sweeter, so that's what we use.
Okay.
Just a quick dice right like that. And it's just simple. We just kind of add everything to the pan and then slowly saute it down. Oop. There we go. And then we add an apple. So apple is nice. It's a Christmas tradition. My grandmother used to say that they used to get apples and oranges as a Christmas gift in their sock, right? Oranges were exotic, so and apples, well, they kept well, and not everyone could afford apples, I guess, if you in my neck of the woods, because we didn't grow very many apple trees up in northern Ontario.
And what does the apple do for the flavor of the stuffing?
Oh, it's a nice sweetness. Is exactly what it is. You can add pear. I've added pear in the past just to kind of make it a little bit different. But yeah, a nice apple.
That's another one I wouldn't have expected.
Okay.
But I can see how it would add a sweetness. A lot of people like cranberries in their stuffing. And
well,
same sort of idea,
it's the same kind of idea, exactly. I've seen this done with walnuts as well. And this transfers as well. I'm making a bread stuffing, but I've also, in the past, made this for restaurants, this exact recipe, but I've used a wild rice instead.
Okay.
There we go. And there we are. So we've got the body, so we're going to saute that up a little bit. Let those apples, we don't want to cook the apples out too much. We want to give them a good crunch, thank you. And now, all I'm going to do is add some bread. So it's about a loaf of your favorite kind of bread. So I've got some lovely sourdough here, and stale bread is always preferred.
Okay. I would not have thought of that either.
Well, why not? Stale bread isn't really good for toast or anything else, and you're just cooking it, right? So, and stale bread absorbs more moisture and more liquid as well, so it'll make a nicer stuffing.
Okay.
You're kind of not throwing money, we're saving money, so.
Right.
There we go. You don't need that much, and then all we're going to do now is we're going to add some chicken stock to this. You can make this vegetarian by just adding a mushroom stock or a veggie stock, but seeing that we're going to be having turkey with this stuffing, I'm going to add, say, about 2.5 cups right now, and then just kind of bring it together, and it'll get nice and soft. Okay. There we go. And then once it's soft, we're going to season it up. There we go. So you're adding about 1 liter of broth. So this is broth that we've made ahead of time, and I usually keep some in the freezer or in the fridge for this type of application. There we go.
That's awesome.
And then all we're going to do is season it with salt and pepper. So I usually, and like my grandma said, just let love lead you until you figure you have enough. And I mean, enough is probably about 2 teaspoons. Give or take, I guess, in this much.
But everyone has their own preferences on seasoning.
Well,
right?
exactly.
So.
And seasoning, you should always, a little goes a long way, and you should season a lot. So you can always add, but you can't take away. Okay. So there's a secret on seasoning too, is just add a little bit. And once you know, then you kind of go with the flow. And then this is another maritime addition. So my grandmother used to use thyme. And thyme worked really, really well. Sometimes it was a little rosemary. Okay. But we're in the Maritimes, and I only discovered or knew about savory when I moved here to go to culinary school.
Oh, is that right?
And
okay.
You can't have turkey dinner without savory.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that one.
So we're going to add, again, we're not going to measure. All I do is I sprinkle a little on top. So that's probably about 2 to 2.5 tablespoons is basically what we're going to get right here. But what I usually do is I just kind of put a thin layer over the entirety, and I think I should have enough. And then I'll just adjust as it goes. There you go. So that's pretty much ready right there. So what we're going to do, and we'll touch on this really quick, is traditionally this would get stuffed into the bird.
Right.
Now, we know now that that's not food safe, and people were getting sick because what would happen is that the bird would cook, but the inside and the stuffing was a different temperature, so it was cooler. So your salmonella would be in the stuffing, and people would get sick from the stuffing. Yeah. So now people think it's a good, and I think it's a great idea to just put it in a loaf pan, bake it in the oven, and then all you need to do is turn it out, slice it up, and serve it.
I'm assuming your turkey would cook a little quicker too, with the cavity inside being exposed to the hot air, right?
Well, absolutely, and there's different ways to go about it. Like I stuff lemons or apples into it, and then that pulls the flavor. And that's what stuffing was doing as well, is it was keeping the breast and the turkey moist, and it was also imparting flavor with your sage, your rosemary, your thyme, and other things that people would put in, or your savory like we're putting in today.
Okay. Now what I've done is I've always spiced the inside of the bird.
Yep.
And then thrown some cut onions in there.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's basically exactly it. So, but people were trying to save time, and why not stuff the bird? Yeah. And then the bird, all those juices and stuff go into that stuffing, and it's a nice mix, and you can do it, but you have to make sure that you're taking temperatures of the stuffing and of the bird. Okay. And once the bird and the stuffing are at perfect temperature, so you're looking at 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. That's about 80 to 82 degrees Celsius is what you want to bring your turkey up to.
Oh, that's good to know.
And all I'm going to do now, I'm just going to add this right to the casserole dish. Now, I usually have enough, and you just squish it down until you have room. And if you don't have room to put it all in, then that's okay too, because then I usually use the rest of it and I crisp it up in the pan, and I just eat it. And there we go. I think we did a good job here.
It looks great.
All I'm going to do now is just slide this into the oven. I don't cover it with foil because I want this to get nice and crispy, because I like a nice crispy dressing. Okay. So this will be nice and crispy, so I'll get that crispy bite along with the moistness that I'm looking for. So we'll just toss this in the oven at about 400 for about 20 to 25 minutes. I just want it to come together and just kind of, crisp up on the top.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll be back to talk to Alex a little bit about what we do during our busiest time of the year, Christmas, right after these messages. Welcome back to Easy Eats. Again, my name is Chef Yves, and we're in the Littering Kitchen with Alex Boyd, Executive Director of the Greener Village. Alex, we're going to talk about Christmas. Tell us about a little bit of what Greener Village does this time of year.
And so Greener Village is busy all year round, serving families with the food and clothing resources they need, but also doing learning programs, like in our learning kitchen and gardens. But Christmas is an extra special focus that goes into it to make sure that everyone has the holiday season that they should have. So for us, that means providing full turkey dinner hampers, Christmas hampers. It means angel tree, making sure that kids get the Christmas gifts that they need. It's making sure all of the fundraising pieces as we move toward year end go off the way they need to be. Turkey drives to raise the resources. It's an exceedingly busy time of year, but it's also one of the most satisfying times of year as well, because you're making sure that people have a joyous holiday season.
Well, no, and absolutely. And when does Christmas start for us officially?
Yeah, so Christmas starts in the planning stages probably in late summer, in September. I mean, we're putting together the pieces and making sure we know what dates we're opening registrations and closing registrations, and figuring out where we're going to host Toyland for the Angel Tree, and making sure that all of the organizational pieces behind the scenes are done. That starts fairly early in the year, June, July. In September, we really start to hammer out the finer details of what the Christmas plan looks like. In October, registrations open, and clients can then register for a Christmas hamper. They can register their kids for Christmas gifts. And that registration lasts usually 6 or 8 weeks, so we can collect as many registrations as we can before we close it, so we can finish preparing those resources. So it pretty much is a whole fall situation to handle Christmas at the volume that we're talking about.
We also spoke with Alison Judah down at Toyland to see what was going on in her world.
This is the Toyland part of the Angel Tree project. Angel Tree is where we ask gifts of the people of Fredericton. At the moment, I have a regular group of about 22, 24 volunteers. This is being hosted by Nashwaaksis Baptist Church, and they have been wonderful. They've been actually hosting us now. This is, I think, the 4th year that we're doing it. So last year we looked at getting together 2,400 toys. This year we're looking at 3,000. We really have a huge number of people who are totally dependent on this for something for their children over Christmas. So these get all transferred back to Greener Village. They are put in the warehouse on shelves in numbered bags, so each family has a number, and then the parents are asked to collect. I would love to say thank you to everybody who's helped.
I know that a lot of people aren't aware that the food bank, the Greener Village, is responsible for the Angel Tree that's at the mall.
When that Angel Tree need came out, I'm not sure exactly when that was, Greener Village said, okay, we'll step in there, and it's just grown and grown from there. And that's what we see with a lot of the services we provide, is that as the community deals with things like inflation and pandemics and higher costs of living and all those things, that the demand just continues to grow and grow. Fortunately, the community continues to support us so that we can grow and grow with the increased demand, and that's why we are where we are today. The tree is still open for another couple weeks almost. I'd wrap till I think December 20th. We have the tree at the Regent Mall, so people can still have that chance to make sure that there's no kids that go without in our community.
Gifts, and then we provide a hamper for Christmas dinner. Now, again, December, do they only get the Christmas hamper box?
Oh no, so in the first 2 weeks of December, we do our complete client service the way we do all other 11 months of the year.
Yeah.
So that's the groceries, the milk, the eggs, the produce, the bread, the canned goods, all of the frozen stuff that we give out. That happens for the first 2 weeks of December, and then right mid-December, we do a hard pivot and we transform our whole warehouse to be a Christmas dinner hamper making processing line, basically.
Absolutely.
And it's a thing to behold as you watch 1,200 Christmas hampers be built in 2 or 3 days. It's wild, but we have great corporate groups that come in to help us to accomplish all that work. And so we basically do a double month in December. We do a almost a full month of regular hampers, because most people will come in the first 2 weeks, and then we turn around, we do the Christmas hamper as well. So the Christmas hamper is really about Christmas Day. Poverty shouldn't, preclude you from enjoying good things. And if we can do something to help people enjoy Christmas time, to enjoy that as a family, to build those family memories that they can have for a lifetime, that's well worth the work and effort that we put in to make it happen.
Let's show everybody what a Christmas dinner from the Greener Village looks like. So
Sounds great.
we start off, everyone gets a turkey. It may not be a Golden West turkey, but it will be a turkey.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
So these turkeys are brought in through awesome donors who support our turkey drive at Peter's Meat Market and Victory Meat Market in partnership with our local firefighters union, and then also private donations. And then depending on how the success of those drives go, sometimes we do have to purchase some turkeys at the end. We haven't had to do that for a number of years, but our demand is up this year, so we'll see what we have to do. But the turkey's kind of the thing that people most look forward to seeing in that box, because they're not easy to find.
Yes.
They're not cheap to find. So being able to have that resource provided to them is huge.
Exactly. And then we've got our staples. We've got a loaf of bread for
absolutely,
for the stuffing that you want to make, and you can add it to the stovetop. So that's what I was going to say. This is a really good base, and then the recipe that we were working on today can definitely be added to this, or you can use this and then add those add-ins that I did. So you can use that as the bread, and then put in the onions and stuff that you have. We've got potatoes.
Yeah, we're from New Brunswick, so that's pretty much
meat and potato
right?
type of town, yeah. And we've got the steady fare too. We've got our turnip and our carrots.
Right.
I'm really impressed. One of the local farmers gave us this nice Hubbard squash this year. So,
so squash going in every food hamper.
we've got our apples and our oranges, like Christmas.
Yep. And it's the things that you think of with Christmas that we want to make sure that people have access to. So, apples and oranges, do you need them for Christmas dinner? Maybe not, but still awfully nice if you're opening presents or you're sitting around in the morning after you woke up to be able to snack on something that's healthy and delicious.
We have our gravy and more vegetables. And then we have drink for the morning, and then here's breakfast for Christmas morning. Or if you're like me, you're French Canadian and you celebrate Le Réveillon, then you have your breakfast, and then you have Christmas, and then you have Christmas dinner later on as well. And then we also have sweets. So cookie dough in here, but it's not just cookie. It might be cookie, it might be cake.
Yeah, so we try to make sure that each of the Christmas dinner hampers that goes out has some treat in it.
Inflation is hitting us just as hard as it's hitting everyone else, right?
Well, yeah, for sure. And I think that when our numbers go up, that can be challenging. And our numbers have gone up pretty consistently over the last 40 years of our operation. There's more and more people that need our services. But 2022 has seen a much higher than normal increase. We've gone up pretty close to 40% in client demand compared to 2021. So the numbers are at an all-time high. And that's a bit of a double whammy for food banks, because then there's more people who need the service, but it's also the extra cost per item that inflation has brought to us. So everyone knows that when you go and buy some milk at the grocery store, it's more expensive than it was last year. Well, but we don't buy 4 or 6 liters a month like many families do. We buy 3,000 liters a month.
Absolutely.
And we buy 1,500 dozen eggs a month. So those cost increases that are a few cents here and a few cents there really hit food banks like ours that are spending a lot of money to make sure that we have the food resources for the ever-increasing number of clients.
And the great initiatives that we put forward this year, like the reverse advent calendar, I think I've been watching, the doorbell yesterday didn't stop ringing.
Yeah.
So I know that it's working, and it's fantastic. That again, even though everyone's struggling, everyone's, pulling together. Let's touch on people. Like, I know that a lot of people don't have money, but we can give our time. And I think this is another call out too. We are, short on volunteers too. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always tell people there are 4 massive ways that you can help an organization like Greener Village. You can make a financial donation. That's how we provide the trucks that pick food up. It's how we buy food. It's how we pay staff so that they can run our programming. It's how we keep the lights on. The financial donation is very important.
Absolutely.
You can donate food. So things like reverse advent calendar, or just a food donation or food drive at work or at school. Those things all make a huge difference. Of the $2 million in food that we give away in a year, probably 80%, 70 to 80% is donated food. So, donated food is a critically important support for food banks. The third one is you give your time. Greener Village has a staff of 11, and we have a volunteer staff of over 100. So if we had to hire enough staff to do all the work and we didn't have volunteers, we'd have to at least triple our staff full-time just to be able to keep things moving. And the fourth one is the one that people always forget. Talk about Greener Village.
There you go.
Talk about the work that you've seen. You're in for a tour and you're excited about something they're doing. Talk about it. And when you talk about it, you increase awareness in the community of what's going on. Maybe you don't have $20 to donate, but the person you're talking to may, and say, you know what, I love what you're saying. I didn't know that was going on. I'm happy to support them, right? So that word of mouth makes a massive difference to organizations like Greener Village that are working hard in the community to do the work that we do. If you want to come in for a tour, give us a call and set one up. We'd be happy to show you around the building and to change some of the perceptions that you may have about what happens at a food bank and how we help and all of the pieces that go into it.
We'll be right back to show you the beautiful finished product of Grandma's stuffing. Welcome back to Easy Eats. My name is Chef Yves Dechaine, and we're in the Learning Kitchen again with Alex Boyd, my executive director, and Grandma's famous stuffing. So, Alex, this has been in the oven for probably about 20 minutes or so, and it's ready. It looks just like I remember, and it smells like I remember. So, we're going to cut into it, and then I'm going to let you have a little taste.
That might be my favorite part of the whole show. I'm really looking forward to getting a taste of that because it smells really nice.
So, I mean, the first piece is never the best piece to get out, but here you go. And, I mean, dressing is supposed to be messy, but here you go.
All right.
Grab some of that. Tell me what you think.
It looks hot, so I'm just going to give it a second here.
Absolutely.
So, Eve, how hot should it be when it comes out of the oven? Do you have a temperature check these sorts of things as well?
If I had egg in it, then I would want to bring it up to the 74 degrees Celsius, 165 degrees Fahrenheit, because you want to make sure that everything is cooked.
Right.
And again, just a reminder, when we're talking about temperatures, your turkey should be at 175 Fahrenheit or 80 to 82 degrees Celsius.
Oh my soul, that is good. So you're obviously a chef.
Yep.
So making good food is your jam. It's what you do. How does somebody who's not a chef like me, how do we get it to this point where when you eat it, you're like, wow, that is really good?
It's practice. I mean, you can take a couple classes to get ideas. I mean, and we offer that here at the Greener Village. We offer classes, and not only classes to learn how to cook like this, but to kind of save money. So I offer what we call a collective kitchen. It's called taste memory, and that's how you become a better cook. Is the more you taste and the more you try and the more you play with food, the better chef or cook you're going to become.
What other opportunities are there for people to learn how to cook better here at Greener Village?
We do corporate classes as well. So if you've got a group, it doesn't matter, a hockey group, a work group, or anything like that, and you guys want to get together and outside the work hours and kind of learn and have fun together, we offer stuff like that. If you've worked and you've played with recipes, but you're just trying to get a balance or flavor profile tasting, I'm there for you as well.
It's just so good, so I want to make sure people know that there is opportunity to learn how to cook like a chef. Without going to culinary school, you can actually take a short class here at Greener Village and do that.
It's just little tidbits. Try it. If you have any questions, give me an email. Kitchen@greenervillage.org.
Thanks, Chef Yves. This is great.
Right on. Thank you so much.